ready to survive and advance on the Grueling Truth Sports Network, and we are at Friday, which means we've got your normal Friday football frenzy. I'm your co-host, Mike Goodpaster. Right now, I want to welcome in my co-host, 1981 national champion, a member of the Indiana Basketball Hall of Fame, Steve Risley. How you doing, Steve?
Peachy King, wonderful. A-OK. Damn glad to be here.
All right.
Happy. Good.
All right.
Did you see the news? Oh well, I'm not even going to go there. Never mind. Nah, I'm not going to go there because some other tragedies happened too. I'm not making fun of it. Okay. So never mind. I'm rethinking it.
Well, we don't want you to make fun of tragedies. All right, let's start off with college football this weekend, which, of course, we finally got the college football playoff system in their top 25.
Which is a tragedy in itself.
And last night, we started off with the first team of the week to play, the UCF Knights, who were ranked 9th in the AP, 12th in the college football playoff system. They played the Temple Owls and got their first win of the season over a team with a winning record as they beat the Owls 52-40 in a great game. Temple was led by Anthony Russo, 444 yards, 4 touchdown passes. Raquel Armstead ran for 142 yards. On the UCF side, Mackenzie Milton, 312 yards, 3 touchdowns. Greg McCrae, 16 carries, 188 yards. When I watched this game, the thing that stood out to me is this. Offensively, UCF should be in the college playoff. Defensively, they should be in the Bahamas Bowl.
Okay.
I mean, I think when you watch them play, I don't think this team is near as good as they were last year because of the defensive side of the ball. They may be slightly better offense even, which is saying a lot because they were good on offense last year. But if you want to get into that Final Four teams, Temple's a good team. They beat UC, who was ranked in the top 25 a couple weeks ago. But this should have been, if you want to be a Final Four team, this should have been a 52-17 game.
Okay. I didn't see the game. I was watching the
You
Oakland
don't even
Raiders
have to see the game to know that if you gave up 40 points against Temple, you're going to have a hard time with Alabama.
I don't get you. I remember talking to you last year, and you were just crying over spilled milk that UCF didn't get a chance.
Yeah, because I thought last year they were a better team.
Now they go undefeated again, and for how many teams other than Alabama, and Alabama hadn't even done it, have gone back-to-back seasons undefeated in college football.
Yeah, but I guarantee you this, Steve. If Alabama is playing UCF's schedule, they would. And the fact is this: they've beaten one team with a winning record.
Well,
and they gave up 40 points doing it, Steve. They're not as good as last year. Last year, defensively, I thought they were really good. They had Shaquem Griffin. That was a team that held Auburn to, I think, 17 points in their bowl game. I thought that team deserved it. This team, when I watch them, I just don't think they're that good.
All I got to say is, after yesterday, listening to you preach Oklahoma, you tell me that Alabama plays UCF's schedule. But they don't play anybody.
They haven't yet, but they will this weekend.
Okay. All right. Well, UCF did too. They played a team with a winning record finally.
Yeah.
I think it's great that UCF wins. I think it's great.
I think it's great too. I hope they keep
the bullseye on the back of that football team is the biggest bullseye in all of college football right now. It's bigger than the one on Alabama and Notre Dame's back. Trust me, because somebody wants to be the first team to knock them off their 18-game winning streak or 19-game, whatever it's at now, 21 game. All right, somebody wants to be the team to put them down. More so than they want to beat Alabama or they want to beat Notre Dame. And trust me, those three are light years above everybody else. So it's great that they win. I think I'm still going to say that's the travesty of the college playoffs is that there's a team that's 21-0.
I agree. If they go undefeated,
I don't care how good they are.
They
deserve a right. They deserve a right to play for it. If they get their butts kicked, then that's the way it is. But for that judgment to be made on somebody's frickin' opinions is horse pucky.
Okay, how about this? If Alabama wins out, Clemson wins out, Notre Dame wins out, Michigan wins out, you would put Central Florida over one of those teams.
I'd put them over Michigan.
You'd put them over Michigan, who would then own a win over Ohio State. a win over Penn State, a win over Northwestern, and they
And
lost
they would not
by
own,
7 at Notre Dame.
And they would not own a 24-game winning streak in college football, which carries weight.
No, it doesn't.
Watch how
it obviously
far,
doesn't
how far,
carry weight. If it carried weight, they would be ranked higher.
If Notre Dame or Alabama lose this weekend, how far will they fall? They'll both fall out of the top 4.
But they'll still be ranked ahead of Central Florida.
Yes.
Which I think, in Central Florida's case, would be
I get it. I get UCF is not anywhere in the level of Alabama and Clemson. I think they probably could give Notre Dame a game.
I think they could beat Notre Dame. I think they could just outscore Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think they could outscore Notre Dame.
But I don't think you're going to outscore Alabama or Clemson with those defensive fronts.
No, but when you and I made the argument last year that they don't play. They're not a big enough. They're not worthy of being even undefeated.
Well, last year though, they beat 3 teams that were ranked in the top 25,
including drilling Auburn in a bowl game.
Yeah, well, that's 4 right there because they beat Memphis twice, who was ranked in the top 25. I think the second time they played them. They beat a Navy team that was ranked, I think, around 18th or 19th where they played them. So last year you had that. Plus you had a much better defense. And I'm just saying, though, if you want to be considered in the top 4, you got to beat Temple more impressive than they did last night. All right, let's transition.
I'm with you. I'm
transition.
I'm just telling you, UCF is the last thing I'll say on it. UCF is the poster child for the stupidity of the playoff system of only 4 teams.
There's been poster childs for that before, though. Even when it was just a BCS, you had teams like Boise State and TCU go undefeated, getting
but they're the latest poster child for that.
All right,
they have no chance of winning the national championship. They cannot compete with Clemson or Alabama, or LSU probably for that matter.
Do you want to just keep freaking talking, Steve, or do you want to go to the next game?
Let's just keep talking.
Okay. Next up,
the next game.
We've got maybe the biggest game since Bear Bryant. Was at Kentucky.
Yeah, that's a knockout game right here.
You got Kentucky versus Georgia. Winner looks like will go to the SEC championship game. Georgia's looked vulnerable in its last 2 games, in large part because of the struggles by a run defense, with LSU running for 275 yards in the Bulldogs' only loss, and Florida running for 170 last week. When you look at this game, it's at Kentucky. Georgia's favored by 10 points. I think that's too many here. I think the biggest key to this game is inside linebacker. University of Kentucky is missing their starting inside linebackers, Cash Daniel and Jordan Jones, and that's going to hurt them, I think. But when you look at this, Steve, is this the year Kentucky finally gets over the hump, beats Georgia, and plays an Alabama or an LSU for the SEC championship?
I think it's the best shot they've got at it, and I'd like to see it happen. I think it'd be great for college football. It'd be great for the SEC. I don't know that it can happen, but the fact that they're playing at Kentucky and Kentucky's, I think it's as good a chance of happening as ever. And I would say I'd go on a limb and pick Kentucky in a mild upset.
I think it's more than a mild upset if they win, because you're looking at a 10-point favorite here. And I think when you look at this team, Kentucky's defense is elite and should be able to make this remain a competitive game all the way. The question to me is whether the Wildcats can score enough points to pull off the upset. Snell, Wilson,
last time they played in Lexington, it was only a 3-point game. Georgia only won by 3 points here last time. And that Kentucky team, that game was not that Kentucky team was not as good as this game. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what, Kentucky will bring the fans out, and this will probably be one of the funnest games. That and Alabama, because SEC knows how to party.
Well,
they have their tailgate
look at the offense. Snell, Wilson, and company, I think, need at least 3 touchdowns to win this game. The problem is they've just scored 4 touchdowns in its last 3 games combined. I think the way they win this game is a defensive or special team score. I don't see that happening. I think Georgia gets the win here, 24-17.
Yeah, I mean that's the safe pick for sure. But
it's not the safe pick. You know what? You told me that crap. Remember when Villanova played Michigan for the national championship? And you told me when I picked Villanova, that was the pick of a loser because I was playing it safe. but I played it smart, and I was right. All right, next up, we've got a game that will have huge implications on the Big 12 as the West Virginia Mountaineers will travel to Texas to play the Texas Longhorns. This is a huge game. You got Will Greer, who at one point was a Heisman Trophy candidate for West Virginia until they got their doors blown off. The game's at Texas. And what's your take on this one?
Texas. I think Texas comes. The better offense. I think the stronger defense are playing at home. I don't think West Virginia's. I think they're a little overranked, basically. I don't think that they play as good a schedule. I like Texas in this game.
All right,
Texas is on a little bit of a resurgence. Texas on a little bit of a resurgence right now. They're rebuilding their program and coming back. I like Texas defensively. I think they're stronger.
Okay, that you didn't end that with a period, but
period.
I think this is a game where I think West Virginia offensively is much better than Texas. I think the game's a toss-up. I'm going to take West Virginia to pull a mild upset here. I like Will Greer. I think they've got some really good skill position players. And in the end, I think Texas is still a year away. They showed that when they lost to Oklahoma State last week, which may be one of the worst Oklahoma State teams in the last 10 years. It's not a team you should be losing to if you're ready to make that final jump. All right, next up, we go to Happy Valley, where the 14th-ranked Penn State Nittany Lions will host the Michigan Wolverines, who have everything right in front of them to make it to the college playoffs under Jim Harbaugh. So what's your take? Who you picking here, Michigan or Penn State?
I got to go with Michigan. I mean, I just don't think Penn State's as strong as Michigan. They're playing at Michigan, 105,000 idiots.
No, it's at Penn State. If you'd have paid attention, you'd have known that.
Number 14, Penn State at number 5, Michigan. The game's at Michigan.
It's not.
That's what Sporting News is saying. Look at it again.
I'm not looking at the Sporting News. I only look at thegruelingtruth.net, where you get the truth.
All right, well, Sporting News says number 14, Penn State at number 5, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Find out where the game is.
I already know where the game is.
All right. Well,
I do.
Okay.
You want to argue with me? Look it up. Just do a Google search. Michigan, Penn State.
Well, no, I can't.
No, you're going to do it.
I don't want to.
Why can't you? You could. You just don't want to because you don't want to be wrong again in front of all these.
Well, no, I'm just reading what Sporting News has down. I'm on the Sporting News website right now.
I don't know why you need to read what other people do. You made fun of me yesterday for, actually, having a list of my own that I wrote and put on my own thing instead of doing it like you and looking at some crackpot website like Sporting News.
Okay. You want me to pull out all the articles? You want to put all the articles I've written on NASCAR?
Yeah.
And cover all that. I'll stand by my what I write. I'll stand by and back on speaking. So,
What?
Go ahead, talk while I'm looking it up.
No, I'm just screwing with you. I'm pretty sure the game is at Michigan. I just said it backwards and didn't want to admit it.
Okay. Jeez, that's 2 days in a row I've nailed your ass.
Have you or have you not? Have you looked it up yet to see where the game is?
No, I'm not going to look it up because I know Sporting News is more accurate than you are.
Really?
So
then why don't you do a show
researchers
for Sporting News?
Because
they won't let you.
They won't let me. I'm not good enough.
Oh, you're not good enough.
I think Michigan. This is a knockout game for both teams. Basically, I mean, it'll knock Penn State out of a chance in a major bowl game. Or it knocks Michigan out of the BCS. I keep calling BCS. I know you're going to grill me on that. It's just one of those things.
BCS.
On the playoffs, it'll knock Michigan out of the playoffs entirely. So I think Michigan is rolling. I think they're probably one of the hottest teams in college football right now, and they could solidify themselves into the playoff system. The way things are shaping up right now with all the knockout games that are going on this week. because it's almost getting too late to recover from being knocked out. So I just think Harbaugh has dialed that program in. It's play the game's at Michigan. Everything favors. I think they cover the 10-point spread, and they win going away. What's the status of the quarterback with Trace McSorley? He was hurt a little bit last week, wasn't he? Did he go down a little bit?
I don't think it matters.
What's the status?
I don't think
Doesn't
it
matter.
matters. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
I mean, it's just the game is going to end with Michigan winning. I like Trace McSorley. Even if he's completely healthy, I like him, but I just don't think he's got the players around him. There's no Saquon Barkley. I don't think the defense is decent, but it's not as good as it was. So I'm going to go with Michigan to win also. Then next up, we've got Notre Dame. We'll travel to Evanston, Illinois to play the Northwestern Wildcats. Steve?
Yeah.
I'll let you discuss this.
This game makes me nervous as all get out. I tell you what, this could be Notre Dame's Waterloo right here because Northwestern is probably it's an underrated football team. They're not ranked necessarily. They haven't had the season they want to, but Northwestern is a dangerous football team. They're well coached. They're playing at Northwestern, although Chicago is probably the largest conglomeration of Notre Dame alumni anywhere in the world. So I would guess the stands are probably going to be solid Notre Dame fans.
That's in Evanston, which means
I know
that's the campus of Northwestern. It's not like it's at Soldier Field.
No, but
so it's going to be a lot harder for Notre Dame fans to get tickets to the game than it would be.
What you have to understand is most Notre Dame people, graduates, are successful business people and can afford to scalp tickets.
Oh, I know. And, most Northwestern graduates are usually poor, so they'll probably have to sell their tickets to feed their family.
The same argument was made. I remember when we used to play Northwestern in basketball, and we'd go to McGraw Hall.
Oh, that place was beautiful.
There would be more Indiana fans in the stadium than there would be Northwestern fans. There would be more red than purple.
But the problem
there
is
will be
this.
more. I guarantee
what you've
you
got
there will
now
be at least 50-50 in terms of fan base.
I said, what you got, though, is you have a Northwestern team that actually has a chance to do something. You never played a Northwestern team that had a chance to do something.
Northwestern's playing for the right to go play Michigan or Ohio State or Penn State. Well, I don't think Penn State's even eligible, if they're going to be eligible or not, to go play in Indianapolis for the Big Ten Championship. Northwestern's playing for the Big Ten Championship. This is a big game for them.
Well, not really,
Pardon?
Because I don't think this game will affect their standings in the Big Ten since Notre Dame is not in the Big Ten.
Good point, but still it's a big win for them.
Yeah. Well, see, this is the thing that's amazing. When I catch you on stuff, it happens so much, I don't even brag about it. I think Northwestern comes into this game with a 5-1 record. They've won 4 straight after starting the season 1-3, including losses to a solid Duke team and a not-so-solid Akron team. The Wildcats have since won at Michigan State and against Wisconsin. They sit alone in the first place in the Big Ten West. If they defeat Iowa next week, they secure a spot in the Big Ten championship game. So really, this may sound crazy, but I think the bigger game for Northwestern is next week. But I like Northwestern to win this game, Steve.
I'm going to say I'm not going to root against my team, Notre Dame. I'm going to stick with them, but I'm scared to death of this game. This game fears me the most of the rest of the 3 games Notre Dame plays after this. I can see an upset happening. I can't argue with you.
I don't think it's an upset. I think Northwestern is just as good.
It's an upset. It's an upset.
No, it's not. It's an upset.
It's an upset.
It's an upset. Whatever.
Notre Dame's ranked number 3 in the country and undefeated.
I thought they were
point spread is
-8.
-8. Eight to Notre Dame.
4th in the country. Correct?
No, they're actually ranked 3rd. No, they're 3rd in the
you're
country.
Actually ranked 4th by the only thing that matters.
Okay, but they're ranked 3rd by the AP poll.
Nobody cares about the AP poll. They just don't, Steve. Right now, being ranked number 1 in the AP poll doesn't get you anything. UCF could be ranked number 1 in the AP poll, and it would mean nothing because they're still not going to be in the Final Four unless they're in the Final Four. Okay.
All right. Well said.
Okay. Once again, so that's 3-1 now for me. So the question is, what is the point spread on Northwestern and Notre Dame? I think that would
8
be
points.
interesting. It's 8? Or are you
It's
guessing?
8 points. No, I'm looking at Sporting News right now. 8 points.
Well, Sporting News said it.
And
Let's actually go to
Sporting
a
News
bookie
says
site. Georgia's a 10-point underdog to Kentucky.
Georgia
Kentucky is a 10-point
because it's a 10-point underdog to Georgia. Oh, there we go. Now we're back to 3-2.
Yeah, but you're still losing. And actually, it's 4-2 now because Notre Dame is a 10-point favorite over Northwestern.
Well, you're looking at a different site. I mean, just every spread is going to be. They're going to take sources from different places.
Okay.
I'm showing it as an 8-point, but we don't talk about betting on this site, do we? Because
why not?
My Book and Buddy dropped us as a sponsor.
Oh, they didn't drop us. We can still pick them up whatever we want. We just haven't yet. We might though.
We haven't yet. Okay.
The more you piss me off. All right. Next up, we've got the Alabama Crimson Tide, ranked number 1, at the LSU Tigers, ranked number 4 or number 3, or it's according to whatever you want to go by. Who do you like here, Steve?
Alabama runs away with this game.
Why is that?
It's not even close. It's not even close. Alabama's a better football team. This knocks LSU out. The bigger part of this game is who's it put in? Michigan? Who comes up into the playoffs and when they drop out? I mean, this is the implication of this game.
Wins.
If Michigan wins, but there are 4, 5, 5, and 6. Georgia, it throws somebody else into the mix all of a sudden because I don't think LSU can cover. I mean, Alabama's a 14-point favorite on Sporting News' site.
Yeah, at LSU.
So,
and I don't know why you keep bringing up the Sporting News.
Well, it's because the site I'm on.
Are they sponsoring you?
No, they're not sponsoring me.
Okay.
I'm just on that site this time. I go to different sites every time just to look and see, so I just have a reference point. That's all. I don't write an article and then don't validate it when I'm having a discussion about the top greatest football programs of all time. I don't do that. I read other people's sites and I just read what they say.
Because you would rather use other people's opinions than your own because you're lazy and don't want to do the legwork yourself.
I'm using you have to reference things. All right. So this weekend, today, I'm referencing Sporting News. Next weekend, I may reference Bleacher Sports. Next week after that, I may reference The Grueling Truth.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, I referenced your site yesterday and kicked your butt.
Oh, sure, you kicked my butt. Yeah, you kicked my butt. Even though now you think Oklahoma might be number 1.
You're still talking about it.
I'm not. You're the only one bringing it up. I haven't brought it up once.
You're keeping count of how many times you're trying to get even with me on yesterday.
No, not really.
That's right.
I'm just trying to wonder how you're going to run the show
strong
tonight without me, since you and Colin are doing the Indiana basketball show.
All right. Alabama and LSU. I think Alabama walks away with this game. I think Alabama is. I just don't think they're going to be so ready to play this game. They understand the importance of this game. They understand that if they, and I'm not even sure if Alabama lost, they would drop out of the top 4. I'm not sure they would.
According how they lose.
Yeah, if they lose close to
28 to 7,
at LSU,
they'll drop out. If they
drop
lose
out.
17-14, they stay in.
They stay in, right? So it's a knockout game for LSU. I'm not 100% sure it's a knockout game for Alabama.
All right. When I look at this game, I think Alabama may be the most complete team I've ever seen. The big problem is this. It's being played in Death Valley, which would normally make you think LSU's got a chance. But they have to play the first half without star linebacker Devin White, who was suspended for a questionable targeting call last week. I think that's a big deal. And when you study these teams, though, I think LSU's secondary can deal with Alabama's wide receivers. I don't think they've got the pass rush to go against Alabama's line. I think Alabama wins the game. I think LSU could cover the spread, but I wouldn't hold my breath.
Yeah. Sporting News has a 14-point spread on the game.
Well, good for Sporting News. Next up, we're going to talk about two teams that probably
Well, let me ask you a question.
What?
Targeting, how many targeting calls do you think are actual targeting events, or how many of you think are just bad tackling technique?
I don't know. I haven't watched them all. I would
bet you the majority of targeting calls are probably more due to bad tackling technique than they are to somebody actually targeting somebody.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily bad targeting or bad tackling technique. I think that people don't realize if you've never played Division I college football or if you've never played in the NFL or coached at that level, I don't think you understand just exactly how fast everything moves. And
that's right.
when you've got a split set, yeah, but that's not necessarily bad tackling technique because a lot of times you don't have a chance to have good tackling technique
right.
because everything's on you so quick. You just got to do what you got to do to get him down. And I think this, to me, targeting is when you're 3-4 yards away and you take your head and you slam into the other dude's head. Now, the other thing I think is this, though. I think that a shoulder to the helmet should be targeting also. Because actually, I think that is more dangerous, and it only risks the player that's getting hit. If you watch the CFL, which I know you probably don't, Zach Collaros, the quarterback of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, gets hit. It was either with the head or the shoulder, but it was malicious. The guy took a 5-yard running start and hit him. And either way, to me, that's targeting. And I do think this, though. I think something that will happen over the next few years, you'll see less targeting because guys will play more under control, but it will also lead to worse tackling.
Okay. Yeah. I'd be curious. I appreciate your interpretation. I mean, I agree with your interpretation. I just would like to know what percentage of actual targeting penalties levied are actual people with the intent of going and targeting. I would say it's probably
intent is something that's really hard to prove, though.
Right,
Unless you're running from 5 yards back, and hell, you could run from 5 yards back, and then you're not targeting the head, and then all of a sudden the dude moves, and you end up hitting him in the head. Next up, we're going to talk about a couple teams that may not have as much talent as Alabama and LSU, as we'll start talking about this week's NFL. Last night, the Oakland Raiders. They look like one of those NBA teams that's tanking to get the first-round draft pick. They lost 34-3 to the San Francisco 49ers. Nick Mullins out of the University of Southern Miss started his first game last night with 16 for 22, 262 yards, 3 touchdowns. They had a dude by the name of Raheem Mostert who carried the ball 7 times for 86 yards. But I think the key thing that we take away from this is that John Gruden is he's being made to look like a fool. And
who's doing this to him? Is he doing it to himself, or are the Raiders doing it to him? That's the $10 question.
I think this. I think that he did it for a while, and now the Raiders have said, "Oh, the hell with this guy. We're just going to tank this," because they gave no effort last night, and then to hear this,
they look pathetic.
Yeah, to hear this moron go on afterwards and talk about all the players that come up to him and want to be a Raider. Anybody that saw that last night does not want to be a Raider.
Did you see the Howie Long interview? Did you watch the Howie Long interview?
I didn't watch it. I saw his press conference after.
I watched it. I watched the Howie Long interview. I mean,
so
he's like, my phone rings off the hook if players wanting to play for Raider Nation.
Yeah, and those players are guys that just caught cut from other teams. Because I guarantee you this.
Looking for a job.
Being an Oakland Raider has not been a special thing since the mid-'80s. It just hasn't.
John Madden's days.
Yeah, well, Tom Flores' days.
Flores and Madden in those days,
Yeah, Flores left. Nobody cares about Raider Nation. I mean, the Raiders had a few good years where Rich Gannon and John Gruden were there, and they didn't win a Super Bowl. They made the playoffs a few times. That was it. For the Raiders, that has been it. I mean, the Raiders as an organization were run into the ground by a senile old man in Al Davis, and now they've got a guy that looks like if you did a remake of Dumb and Dumber, I mean, Bruce Davis or whatever his name is, the guy that's the owner now, or Mark Davis, whatever, he looks like he could be one of those guys. I mean, this is a grown-ass man with a bowl cut. I mean, he looks like Pete Rose's illegitimate child. He has no clue what he's doing running an NFL team. This is a team that 2 or 3 years ago looked like the team of the future. And now all of a sudden it looks like that future is another at least 3 years away. And yeah, they got a lot of draft picks for Khalil Mack and, Amari Cooper. But why would anybody believe they're going to draft the right guys? I mean, they haven't in the past. And when you look at them, this is just a big cluster. And I think anybody hoping that maybe in the future, you're going to get to Vegas and have anything different than this, I think you're really pushing it, because I don't see anything here that tells me John Gruden has a clue what's going on. And when you look at their draft from this year, which was the draft of John Gruden, I mean, they picked Colton Miller, which I think was a huge reach. Their second-round pick, they picked P.J. Hall, which was a huge reach. Brandon Parker from North Carolina A&T. I mean, when you look at the draft and the job he did here, it's really, really a stretch to think that all of a sudden John Gruden for a couple years is just going to nail the draft. Because if he doesn't nail the draft on almost every pick for the next 3 years, this team is still going to be crap. And then what are they going to do with Derek Carr? Because at some point, Derek Carr is going to get tired of this crap.
What happened to Derek Carr last night? I see McCarron play.
Well, they were just getting the hell beat out of him, so they just
took him out of the game.
In.
Okay,
yeah.
I switched at 9:00 to watch opening episode of Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Yeah, if you're Derek Carr, they have taken 3 years ago.
Teresa Giudice is in trouble because her husband
cares about that
getting out of jail and being
nobody
deported.
Cares.
So
nobody cares.
I had to find out what was going on there.
They need to build a wall. But when you get to 3 years ago, they had the best offensive line in football outside of Dallas. They had a bunch of weapons for him. Now you've got nothing. Amari Cooper's been traded away. Khalil Mack, your best defensive player, is gone. Most of that offensive line has gotten the hell out of Dodge. The Raiders are a joke. John Gruden is a joke. And the 49ers, who I thought were the worst team in football, were 31 points better than the Raiders. So I think it's obvious the Raiders are number 32 in next week's.
I tell you what, I think this. I was suspect on Gruden signing because I've never been a Gruden fan. I don't like the way he presents himself. He's cocky. He's arrogant. He really is living off of one season in his entire football career. And I thought it was a suspect decision to take him. Now I think this is the biggest waste of NFL money since Baltimore signing Joe Flacco to the first $25 million quarterback contract, 10 years ago? When they did that?
That was like 5 years ago, but Joe Flacco was the quarterback. Once again,
but
the problem was
Joe Flacco's not a $25 million quarterback.
Whatever.
There's no way he ever was, will be, or is. He's a good.
He's maybe the greatest playoff quarterback in NFL history.
In 1 year, what has he done for me lately?
1 year? I hope you're kidding with that. Really? So
how many
Joe
Super Bowls
Flacco
has
had
Baltimore
one
won?
good year in the playoffs.
He won one Super Bowl.
He won a Super Bowl.
Right.
But when you're talking about the playoffs...
Anyway, let's don't go there.
You don't want to go there because you would be wrong then.
Well, I may be wrong. So I'll defer to you that I'm wrong on that one and move on. Terry Bradshaw said there's no way in hell that Gruden last 10 years in Oakland last night. As they were winding down the interview with Howie Long, and Terry Bradshaw came right on the pregame show and just said, no way in hell he's there 10 years. So he's got maybe 3 or 4 before they just get tired of him. Terry Bradshaw said that. But I'm paraphrasing. I'm not direct quoting. I'm paraphrasing. But he made the assumption that he's overrated terribly.
So in Joe Flacco's last 8 playoff games, 21 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 6 wins.
Okay.
That's why they paid him that much money. The only problem is they let the team around him fall apart, so now he can't get to the playoffs to do that. Let's look at some other games.
Oh.
We've got the Washington Redskins, who have come out of nowhere to lead the NFC East. They are 5-2. They'll be playing the Atlanta Falcons. And this game right here is it for the Falcons, I think. And
I agree. Yeah, this is make or break time. Yeah.
Yeah, and for the Redskins, a win here really solidifies this. I think they're a game and a half up. This is a huge game for both teams. And the question to me, can the Redskins get in a shootout and beat the Falcons? Because it's going to be hard not to get in a shootout with Matt Ryan and Julio Jones.
Well, you don't want to do that. Yeah, you don't want to get in a shootout with Atlanta because Atlanta's too high-powered offensively. If they get hot with Julio Jones and Matt Ryan, you want to control this game defensively, and that's what Washington's got to do here. They've got to take defensive charge of this game right up front and not let them get themselves into a shootout with them or they're in trouble. Alex Smith is a worthy quarterback. He's been in plenty of shootouts at Kansas City when he was there. But I'm just not sure I want to test Atlanta because Atlanta's playoff back is to the wall. They're pretty much gone, I think.
No,
they have to have a miraculous.
They get to 4-4. They got a shot, especially with the offense. They get a few players back this week
right.
off of injuries coming off the bye.
Yeah.
If you put a gun to my head, I would pick Washington in this game. Plus, if you put a gun to my head, I would probably cry like a little girl. So who would you like in this game? You cry like a little girl all the time. Who would you pick?
I'm going to go with the Redskins. They're manufacturing a great season, and other than losing to the Colts, which is the only really blip on their record,
that'd be a blip.
It'd be a blip.
It wouldn't be a blip on their record, Risley. It's a blip. It's now 5-2.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Fraggle Rock.
Blip. Blip on the. It's a blip, not a blimp on the radar. All right.
Yeah.
Who you picking?
I like Washington.
Right.
I think if they defensively stay strong, Jay Gruden's having a good year coaching. He's put a fairly solid team together. I'm not sure it's a fluke that Washington's 5-2.
I do.
I don't think it's a fluke. I think they're in a weak division.
Well, that makes it
I think
a fluke,
he's put
then.
a solid. No,
if they're not that good.
I don't think it's a fluke that they're 5-2. I think those stars have aligned for them, and they've got a good coach. They've got a good quarterback now. They're playing at home. They're playing a very unsure of themselves Atlanta Falcons football team. If you just don't let them get into a shootout, if you don't make this game 42-43, something like that, I think Washington wins this game.
All right, next up, a huge game in the AFC North. The Baltimore Ravens will host the Pittsburgh Steelers. The most interesting thing about this game to me is this. The defensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens' name is Wink Martindale. So I'm picking Baltimore.
Tic-tac-toe.
Yeah. Was it tic-tac? Yeah, it was tic-tac-toe.
Tic-tac-toe.
Yeah.
And Joker's Wild.
Yeah, the Joker's Wild. That was off the hook back in the late 70s.
That was a great show.
I know.
So was Tic-tac-toe.
Yeah, tic-tac-toe was awesome. So I don't know about you, but just because Wink Martindale is the defensive coordinator for Ravens, I'm picking him to win this game.
You know, the funny thing is that Ravens are favored in this game.
Why would that be funny? They already kicked the Steelers' ass in Pittsburgh, and now they're at home.
Who beat Baltimore last week? Who did they lose to last week?
They lost to the Panthers in Carolina.
Okay, all right, yeah. It didn't look very good doing it because they kept letting Carolina come back from nowhere. They can't stop anybody. I think Pittsburgh's on a roll. Pittsburgh marches right into the playoffs, and Pittsburgh becomes a factor at the end of the season.
Okay.
Pittsburgh's rolling. And the worst move Pittsburgh can make right now is to bring LaDainian Thompson back. Well,
you know what? It's now like 7-2. That counts for 2. Because I don't think they're getting LaDainian Tomlinson out of the Hall of Fame or back on a football field for that matter. Plus,
God, yeah.
My God, Steve, this is becoming an embarrassment. If you'd have played in the NFL, we would think you would have a case of CTE right now. Instead, you played basketball, so you just got a case of the dumbass.
So David Tomlinson, where'd that come from?
Tomlinson. I don't know where it came from, Steve, but I'm starting to worry about you. All right, the next big game of the week, the San Diego/LA Chargers will go to Seattle to play the Seahawks. This is a huge game. The Seahawks are 4-3, and I think if the Seahawks get a win here, you got to start considering them as a legitimate playoff contender, Steve.
The Seahawks?
Yeah.
If they win.
If they win. That's what I said. If they win this game.
Yeah.
Keep up.
But I don't think they're going to win the game.
I don't either. But they could.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Well, any team can win any game.
No, they can't.
That's why they roll the ball in the field and play.
They can't. I don't think the Raiders could beat anybody right now.
The Raiders?
Yeah, the Raiders couldn't beat anybody right now.
Oh, the Raiders. That's what you're saying. Oh, yeah, the Raiders, you're right. Yeah, there's a lone exception to my argument. I agree.
Okay, 8-2 now. I think the Chargers win the game also.
Chargers win the game. Yeah, Chargers are a good football team. Chargers are a good football team.
Oh my God, how many times?
I think you got the Chargers.
It sounds like back in 1979 when I'm listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire on my record player and it starts skipping. I just had to pick up your needle and move you forward. Next up, we've got the Green Bay Packers at the New England Patriots. We got Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady. What's your take here, Steve?
I don't know. I got this sneaky feeling the Packers are going to pull this off. I think Rodgers is due. I know it's a stupid bet. I know it is. I just had this weird feeling that Rodgers is a big play Ray guy. And this is the biggest stage in the world. I mean, the obvious choice is New England wins this game.
Yeah, because Aaron Rodgers is a much better big play game or big game player than Tom Brady. I mean, that's why Rodgers has won like 5 Super Bowls and Brady's only got 1.
Yeah, I know. Okay. I'm just trying to, as you claimed yesterday with your Oklahoma-Alabama decision,
which was
I'm just trying to be different than you.
I'm not trying to be different. Neither are you. That's just a stupid pick. You didn't have any clue about the history of Oklahoma football until I taught you. And then after the show, you said, I could see him being number 1.
I was just trying to let you down easy because I was reading your article while you were rambling.
You weren't. I told the truth.
No, Patriots are going to win this game. But this is one that I think is going to be a fun game to watch.
Okay.
I think Rodgers is going to have a good night. I don't know that he's strong enough to pull it off.
So let's see. I have enough, pull over you that you started off picking New England or started off picking Green Bay, and in the end said, "Well, I'm going to take New England."
No, I said I think New England's going to win the game, but I'm still going to stick with the fact that I think the Packers. No, you told me at the start. You said
I got a funny feeling that Aaron Rodgers is going to pull this off. Well, then pick your funny feeling.
Okay, but I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm probably going to get egg on my face at the end of this one because I think New England is a more solid football team, but I think Green Bay this is a must-win for Green Bay. It's an important game for them, more so than it is for New England. New England's cruising right now. It's a critical win. If if Green Bay falls out, loses this game, they're in playoff hell.
All right, next up, we've got 2 teams that aren't in playoff hell, but this is a huge game for the number 1 seed in the future of the NFC playoffs. The Los Angeles Rams will travel to the Superdome to play the New Orleans Saints, Steve. We got Jared Goff against Drew Brees. We got what I think right now are the 2 best teams in football battling out at 4:25 on Sunday afternoon, November the 4th. Who wins the game?
Saints. Rams lose their undefeated status.
Okay. I agree. I think the Saints are the best team in football. I think they will prove
right now they are. I agree. Well, the best team in the NFC. They're by far the best team in the NFC.
They're the best team in football because those are the 2 best teams in football. Yeah. Who's better in the NFC? I mean, Kansas City doesn't have the defense those 2 have.
Well, I'm not going to bet against New England. I'm never going to bet against New England unless they're playing Green Bay.
I would bet against New England against the Saints. I think Sean Payton's a very good coach. And I think Drew Brees is as good as anybody I've ever seen.
Yeah. No, I think I picked this last night. I was looking at this to do some research on this. I said, New Orleans wins this game. Rams are right to lose. They're going into a hostile environment. New Orleans is a nut house. Brees is just virtually flawless this year. It's just the biggest game Goff will have played in his career, I think, in terms of just pressure on him to perform at a high level. And, I like New Orleans in this game.
All right. We got a little NFL news. Last night, we had breaking news that is all over the internet today. A member of the San Francisco 49ers cheerleader squad was caught on her knees last night during the national anthem.
Did you really want to say that?
Yeah,
caught
I
on
did.
her knees?
I didn't until I started, but once I started, I thought, hell, this will be good because it's an asinine thing anyways to run as a story. But yes, a San Francisco 49er is catching a lot of flack for being caught on her knees last night as she took a knee for the national anthem. Steve, why is this even a story? I mean, why would anybody care what an NFL cheerleader did? These are basically grown women that dress up for like $50 a game and go shake their butts in front of 60,000 people. And let's face it, unless you're sitting right in front of where they're at, you can't see them anyway.
Do you know how many comebacks popped into my brain in the minute you said? I had to be 20 of them that came, 21 liners that came into my brain right away.
Yeah, me too. That's why I had to let it fly. I mean,
yeah, I looked at that this morning on the news. The Today Show, I think, had something on that this morning, and I'm like, what is the relevance of even putting this on television? You're just perpetuating the problem.
Up. That's the only thing.
Yeah, because she was buried back in the second row. I mean, you couldn't even tell. I remember cheerleaders taking a knee all the time anyway.
Sometimes, too. Sometimes they'd get on their hands and their knees. But, all right.
This is in all honesty, what Kaepernick was trying to accomplish this is a total distraction from that. It actually takes away from it. Because now it winds itself like we're laughing about making jokes about the whole thing. And this was two steps backwards to that whole cause and movement.
Because it's funny. Because the first article I read was a member of the San Francisco 49ers cheerleading squad took a knee last night. And then it says,
I know.
Because during a national anthem protest. Why does anybody care? Nobody cares. They don't even know what her name is. I mean, that's the funny thing. I'm sure they do by now.
They won't even know that she's going to be unemployed next week either, probably, because unfortunately they don't have the contracts and the players' unions that the NFL players do.
Well, plus,
and if they can get rid of Kaepernick for taking a knee, what do you think they can do to a $50 a game cheerleader?
Yeah, and nobody cares what a cheerleader
Nobody cares.
does.
Right.
Nobody cares what a cheerleader thinks. Nobody cares if a cheerleader thinks.
I'm of the volition right now. I think the NFL should just do away with cheerleaders, period. I think it's a distraction of the game.
I think it's a joke. I mean, I don't know why we live in a society with the Me Too movement, but yet we've got women half naked on a football field that nobody cares about. I mean, they don't. Nobody cares. Nobody has ever went to an NFL football game saying, "Man, I can't wait." Because today, I heard on the Cincinnati Bengals cheerleading coaches show that they're going to do a new routine at halftime. I got to make sure I'm in my seat for that instead of peeing. It's not going to happen.
I agree. And I was the best man in a wedding of my friend who married a Colts cheerleader.
Yeah. So what's that mean?
And she didn't wear her uniform to the wedding.
Why not? Was she?
I don't know. I was hoping she would. It was cute.
Oh, jeez. See, it's guys like you that cause this. No respect. I know. I'll tell you. Just in there to look at the T and the A. Somebody like me, I give respect to the
NFL should just do away with cheerleaders. They should do away with them. Get rid of them.
They work hard for their
Pittsburgh doesn't have them. Who doesn't have them? Pittsburgh doesn't have them. Chicago doesn't have them, don't they?
Green Bay doesn't have them.
Green Bay doesn't have them.
Pittsburgh doesn't have them because there's no women under 200 pounds in Pittsburgh over the age of 18.
Come on, that's not true. That's not true.
Okay, there's two, but they don't have any teeth.
All right.
And the point is this.
Jesus, how did we degenerate to this?
Oh, I don't know. It always seems to happen at some point during a show.
I know.
But
go ahead.
I don't have
any
anything
other important.
Else. No, there's nothing. That wasn't important, and I brought it up. So yeah,
any other important games?
No, that was enough. There's not that many because it's a league of mediocrity. So it's just a bunch of average teams playing each other, and of course the best team doesn't play this week.
Do the Bengals and Colts both have the week off?
I don't know. I know the Bengals do. I don't care about the Colts. I only watch NFL football.
Hey, wait, we play you guys on like New Year's Eve.
No, you don't play us. We already beat you.
I thought we play you on December 30th.
No, because we already beat you.
All right. Yeah, you did. That's right.
Yeah. Dominated you. By double digits.
All right.
Double-digit win, buddy. That's domination. All right, Steve, you got anything else you want to discuss before we end this monstrosity?
No, other than we have our IU basketball show today. First exhibition game was played last night, and we'll cover that at 6 o'clock this evening live on thegrilling.truth.net. You want to talk about that? You want to give us all the hype on that?
No.
Since you didn't watch the game,
Colin
they're going
Hartman,
to come on and talk about
make sure you listen to Colin Hartman and Steve Risley on the Indiana Basketball Weekly show, because Colin Hartman and Steve Risley are the only ones that are going to talk from the post I saw from Steve. So make sure you listen, because I'm
Mike,
sure Steve
did
will
you
have
go
some
back in?
wonderful
Did you go
things
back
to
in and
say.
reread the post?
No,
I
I'm not going to
edited the post
reread it, because
immediately.
you know what? You can't edit your true feelings. I know what your true feelings are. It was, last night Steve posted, hey, listen to me and Colin tomorrow on the Indiana Basketball Weekly show. And I'm thinking like, hey, I thought I was on the show too. But then come to find out I'm not, because Steve doesn't want me on the show. Because Steve knows way more than everybody else. But he does need Colin on, because Colin is at least nice to look at. We all know Steve.
I would be kind enough
like
to say that when it comes to
Risley.
football,
I'm going to start calling you Shrek Risley. I'm going to introduce you as Shrek Risley tonight.
Are you done now?
No. Maybe.
When it comes to football, I would kindly defer and say I think that Mike is probably a little smarter in football than I am.
A little.
He knows the game a little better. He's a little smarter.
A little.
He's a lot smarter than I am. Okay, I'll give you that. When it comes to IU basketball, I think I've got a little bit more knowledge base than you do into what's happening and what went on. You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
No. Why would you know more about what happened than I would? You just
first off, I watched
30
the
years
game.
Golfing and selling
First off, I watched the game. You're going to come on today at 3 o'clock, and you're going to go through Sporting News' synopsis of the game, and having not even watched the game.
Have a synopsis of that game, probably.
Well, you'll find some site that does. I paid my $9.95.
Watching the game. Okay.
I paid my $9.95 to Big Ten to go and turned it on my computer and watched the entire game on my computer.
Yeah. And your point is what?
Have you printed out a stat sheet yet?
Why would I print out a stat
sheet? I've got the stat sheet sitting right in front of me right here.
I don't need people to write stuff for me. I mean, and then you sit there and act like you know more about Indiana basketball. Come on. In 1940, when the Indiana Hoosiers won the NCAA championship, did they win the Big Ten?
No, they did not.
Who won the Big Ten?
Purdue won the Big Ten that year. I know that for a fact.
What was the record?
I don't know what the record was because
really?
I'm not that deep into minutia, but I know Purdue won the Big Ten that year.
Uh-huh.
I also know that Purdue has more Big Ten championships than Indiana does.
Do you know this? How many times did Purdue beat Indiana in 1940?
They only played them once.
That's not what I asked you.
It wasn't a home-and-home series back then.
It wasn't?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm 99.9%
really?
sure.
Because, IU lost the Big Ten that year to Purdue, but they beat Purdue both times, including a 7-point win at IU and a 6-point win at Lambert Fieldhouse, which is where they played. Now, can you tell me this?
You know what?
Wait a second.
You know what?
Wait a second.
For not 1940,
where did Indiana play their home basketball games?
They played in the Fieldhouse.
Okay, so you got one thing right so far.
No, I got two right. The Purdue won the Big Ten. I knew nothing about that, and I just guessed and pulled it out of my ass.
Okay, who was
I had no idea who won the Big Ten. I didn't know if Indiana won it.
In 1940, when Indiana won it all, who was the most outstanding player for Indiana?
In 1940?
Yeah.
Let's see. I don't think it was. God.
So you don't know. Just say you don't know. It's all right.
No, I don't know.
Okay. Marv Huffman.
Wasn't Dick Farley. Farley was 53.
That was Marv Huffman.
I met Marv Huffman.
Really?
That guy's a sweetheart. I've talked to him several times.
Yeah.
I did not. That's right. See, that's right. I've met Marv Huffman a bunch of times. He used to come to all the IU games in the 80s.
All right.
He's a great guy.
Who was Branch McCracken's assistant coach?
John Wooden.
It was Ralph Graham. And I would like to tell you this. I would like to submit this as Rod Serling used to on that old Twilight Zone show. I swear to you that I have not Googled this. I knew this. So the fact that you tell me you know more about Indiana basketball is actually laughable.
Okay. Stand corrected. Stand corrected.
All right. In 1979, how many times did you beat Michigan State?
None. They beat us all 3 times that year.
But
we lost them 3 times.
You played on that game, on that team, and you claimed that you beat them once, and the other game was close, like a year ago, until I called you on that also. So
I don't think I ever played in '79.
Oh, were you on the bench?
No, I guarded Magic until I fouled out.
Until you fouled out.
And
all right.
Yeah, and then no, they beat us. I think they beat us twice in Big Ten. I think we played them in the Far West Classic in Portland, Oregon, too, over the holidays. They beat us a 3rd time actually that year, I believe.
They beat you guys to death, if I remember.
Yeah, they were better. They're a better basketball team than we were.
Oh, they were a better basketball team than everybody in 1979.
Yeah, they were. Mm-hmm.
Of course, if Indiana State could have made some free throws, maybe they wouldn't have been better than Indiana State. But even Larry Bird was like 7 free throws in that game. But all right, guys, we're gonna wrap the show up since it's.
Mike, I have a question.
What?
I have a question. Would you please join us today for the Indiana Basketball Weekly show and be?
I don't know. I have to see what I'm doing.
A host for us. Be a host for us on the show with your.
I don't know.
You've proven me once again with your extensive knowledge of Indiana basketball.
Now you're just mocking me.
You're worthy of being on the show. Not mocking you. I'm publicly apologizing for errantly omitting you from the list.
For me to accept this, you're going to have to get down on your knees like a San Francisco 49er cheerleader.
Okay. Mike, I have one final thing. You know how you put out, and I don't think our fans are fans, although we do have 93,000 people who listen to the show, sadly.
Yeah, I've got fans. You got people that are mildly
but you put out a ranking of the top shows every week, correctly?
Yes.
You put out a ranking of how many listens we had on our top 15 shows.
Yeah.
And every week, Survive and Advance, all 5 of our shows are in the top 10 usually, along with Indiana Basketball Weekly, which is now usually in the top 4. Yet you always say Survive and Advance with Steve Risley. I've said to you before, Mike, why don't you put down with Steve Risley and Mike Goodpaster?
Nobody sees that but the people on our network.
Well, that's where I get my mentality is you're such a modest guy that you don't want credit for the work and the genius that you have and are.
Oh, dude, don't worry. I always want credit. I have a huge ego. I'm just embarrassed when I say it out loud.
But I've commented. Have I not done that? Have I not written you, called you, and said, please put on there when you put down our show, Survive in Advance, it's with Steve Risley and Mike Goodpaster, not with Steve Risley.
You know why I know that? Or do that? Because everybody knows I'm Survive in Advance. I just want to make sure you get some credit too.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you for that's the humility and modesty and bravado I love about you. That's just what makes you Mike Goodpaster, a Renaissance guy.
All right. And also today, as long as he sends me his phone number, we're going to have Sean Culkin on, who is a tight end for the Los Angeles Chargers, who has played every game so far this year. So
he's coming on Indiana Basketball Weekly?
No, he's coming on at 5 o'clock. Indiana Basketball Weekly is at 6 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
But he got a hold of me earlier in the week and said that he wanted to be on the show. I told him to send me his phone number, and I would have him on. He hasn't sent it yet, and I ain't begging nobody, Charger or not.
What show's he coming on?
It's on this show where I interview Sean Culkin.
So you're just interviewing Sean Culkin?
Yes. Well, he plays in the NFL, which means usually at noon every day he's busy. But at 5 o'clock he's not. So I don't know.
You didn't ask me to be on that interview with you so we could do a special edition of Survive in Advance?
Dude, it'll be rough enough with me not knowing who Sean Culkin is. We throw both of us in. We're really going to have a problem.
Sean Culkin? That was my first question I was going to ask you. Who are you and what do you do?
we could play like What's My Line or whatever that is.
Hang on. We got time to kill here real quick. Wait a minute. Let's Google Sean Culkin.
Yeah,
how do you spell it? S-H-A-W-N?
S-E-A-N-C-U-L-K-I-N. He is a very good player because he's in the NFL. He was a free agent. I forget what college he went to.
Sean Calkin, Wikipedia, the Los Angeles Clippers. Let's go to Wikipedia.
Clippers?
They're probably a little bit. Chargers. College, went to Missouri.
Yeah, I knew.
Undrafted. Undrafted. He was undrafted.
What's that matter?
He's active roster, tight end. He's a tight end.
Yeah. He's on an active roster on a team that I picked.
6'5", 251, runs a 4.7, 41 yards, 40-yard dash. Okay, I ran a 4.9, so that's no big deal.
Actually, 4.7 to 4.9 is a huge difference, by the way.
Yeah, I agree, but it still puts you in the slow category any way you look at it.
Not really. I think 4.7 is actually pretty good speed. 4.9 is just some ogre who has to go play basketball because he's not good enough to play football.
Professional career. There's no stats for him at all. Has he even played?
Yeah. He's a blocking tight end.
Blocking tight end. Okay, well, I'm looking on Wikipedia, and they have no stats. Has he caught a ball?
He is a blocking tight end.
Blocking tight end. Let me see. He's played in 14 games.
See?
Oh, that was okay. Wait, that was college. That was in Missouri. College career, professional career. They have no stats for him. All they have for him in professional career is pre-draft measurables.
Yeah.
There you go, Sean Calkin.
This year so far, is he related
to?
Don't even start with the Macaulay Culkin jokes, but I'll find out.
Is he related to him?
The games.
That's a better interview.
He started 4 games this year. He's played in every game.
All right. Well, all 53 players generally play in every game. At some point, they all get into every game, either on a special team.
I just don't know why. You know what? When I look up Steve Risley, I don't find any NBA stats. I don't even find where you played on a team.
I didn't play in the NBA. I did not make an NBA team.
So the fact that you want to sit here and mock a man that's in the NFL, lived his dream, when you fell way short, is just mind-boggling to me. But once again, it's kind of back to that, hey, join me and Colin for the Indiana basketball show tonight.
Wow. Okay. I'm asking you, please. I amended the post I put on Twitter and on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I corrected my error. Mm-hmm. I apologize for it publicly.
Yeah.
I did not mean to
You
omit
know what?
you.
So did Megyn Kelly, and they still fired her.
They didn't fire Megyn Kelly for omitting anything.
Omitting. She apologized. She apologized for what she did wrong.
Well, I'm not going to get political on this because I have my opinion on that. So I'm going to leave it there.
Nobody cares what your opinion is on that.
She's walking away with $40 million.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's terrible. that's just gross negligence. $40 million to walk away. Ugh.
But, all right, Steve, we're going to wrap it up. We will be back Monday with Anthony Servino, who will be back from his surgery on his teeth. No, he's not from Kentucky. It was a normal procedure. Make sure you follow us at Grueling Truth, at Survive the Magic. Go to the Facebook page, The Grueling Truth. Follow us there. I want to thank everybody for listening this week. You can hear all of our shows.
Hey, wait. By the way, did you see my joke I sent you about Kentucky, the Kentucky people?
Yeah, I think.
If two Kentuckians get divorced, are they still cousins?
I don't know. Are they? You would know. I don't know why you got to mock Kentucky fans.
You mock Kentucky fans all the time.
Whatever. I do not.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't. I don't know why you would mock somebody for being a Kentucky fan.
I'm not. I love Kentucky.
Sure you do. All right, guys.
I think Calipari's figured it out.
All right, guys. We're just going to wrap this up because Steve's just going to keep rambling. Remember, you can hear all of our shows on iHeartRadio, Spotify, TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher. Wherever you find sports podcasts, you'll find The Grueling Truth. So, for Steve Risley, I'm Mike Goodpaster. You've been listening to The Grueling Truth, where the legends speak.